Should I stop my ex from getting married? Me and my ex-fiancé were together for 2 years. We got engaged last September. My biggest dream in my life has always been to be married with kids by 30, so I was fully ready to get married. Especially to him, he was everything I ever imagined my future husband to be. But as we started planning the wedding and the prospect of really being married began to settle, I got cold feet. He's a very stubborn guy who's been babied and put on a pedestal by his family and friends his whole life, plus he's loaded, so his ego is kind of massive. I let a lot of things go because I thought they weren't worth fighting over, but when I was faced with marrying him, I wondered if I'd be okay with letting so many little things go for the rest of my life and if they'd accumulate and get worse. I was very open with him about how I felt, and in January of this year, I suggested we spend a week apart to see how we'd fare without each other. I figured if I couldn't survive a week without him, I could marry him. But as the days went by, I found myself feeling so much better without him. So at the end of the week, I ended things. He wasn't okay with it. There were lots of tearful conversations as he tried to convince me to stay, and I considered it, but I felt like something had broken between us and I didn't feel so sure about him anymore. We went our separate ways. About a month went by before he contacted me again with "My life isn't the same without you. You make me a better person. I need you. I don't know how to live without you. No one sees me the way you do." Now this is where it gets weird. Apparently, a few days after I left him, he joined a dating app where he met a 22-year-old woman and started seeing her regularly. So by the time he contacted me the second time, he'd already been seeing her for a while. I confronted him about this and he said that he threw himself at her to try and forget me because he couldn't get me out of his head and was sick because he couldn't sleep or eat, blah blah blah. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. If he truly wanted me back, maybe don't hook up with the first woman who makes herself available. All feelings of love I harbored for this guy immediately vanished, and I've been completely repulsed by him ever since. He transformed into a completely unrecognizable person that I didn't know anymore. Anyway, my best friend and his best friend are brothers, so my best friend gives me updates. Basically, my ex proposed to this new woman 2 months after they got together and he's marrying her next weekend. My best friend just broke the news to me today, because he found out that his brother had been invited and he wasn't. Even though I'm completely over my ex, I still literally vomited when I found out. I don't know why. I didn't want to marry him, and, now that I have perspective and see him in a new light, I can't imagine why anyone else would want to marry him. I just don't know how to feel about this. I don't know if I should be angry or sad, or if I should just try to ignore it all and forget about it. His friends reached out to me to say he hasn't been the same since I left. They think he's going through a midlife crisis and would greatly benefit from seeing me and talking things through. I don't really think he deserves that, but I told them I'd think about it. I can't help but feel that he's marrying this woman to get back at me in some way, and she's marrying him for his money. I've also considered the taxi cab theory, which kind of makes me feel awful because it makes me think he just wanted to get married and didn't care to who, which cheapens our relationship. This whole situation is so messed up and I have no idea what to do, if I'm even supposed to do anything. I told his friends that I'd think about talking to him as a buffer, but I won't respond to them if they ask again, and I'm just as surprised as some of you that his friends are even bothering talking to me and not talking to him themselves. I think I already knew I'd do that, I just needed assurance from unbiased strangers. My family/friends are harboring all the anger about this situation for me and basically told me to burn his house down, which is insane. No, I haven't moved on entirely. I still cherish the good times of our relationship, but every time I think about him I force myself to remember how disastrous he could be, and I know that I made the right decision to leave him. I'm not upset that he's getting married, I'm just surprised. I'm not bad talking him in this post because I want to hear a certain kind of response. I actually went pretty easy on him. You should hear some of the things I let slide while we were dating. I also just want to clarify that I wasn't manipulated or trapped or clinging to someone older for security or guidance or whatever. I knew what I was getting into. Not every age gap relationship is evil. Even in our relationship we were able to be independent of each other, and he only became clingy and weird once we were over. I know exactly what I want for my life and am on track to getting it, and he was a part of that until I didn't want him to be anymore. There's a difference between being young and being stupid.